I'm Raj and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So this is the 8th video in the Python tutorial series, and today we will talk about loops. So what is a loop? So let's say whenever we want to perform a certain operation individually on a group of values. These values can be continuous, discrete, strings, lists or object, anything. But we want to perform an operation individual on each elements in a continuous form. So that's where the loop is needed. So this is a normal structure or a flowchart of a loop. So we are coming from a normal flow of execution, and we will check for now we want to perform that repetitive operation. So we will check for a condition, and we will perform the repetitive code, and then we will again check the condition. So why this condition? Because we want to know when to start performing the repetitive code and when to end. So we need a condition for that. And if the condition is true, then we will perform the repetitive code, or else we'll go back to the normal flow of execution and end the program execution. So basically there are two types of looping. So one is condition oriented and the second is counter oriented. So as the name suggests, condition oriented is based on a condition. So whenever the condition is true, we will execute the loop code, or else we will not. In counter oriented, we are basically counting the iterations. So we have a counter as a base. So in condition oriented, we have while loop as an example in Python. So it will basically check for a condition if it. So in counter oriented, we initially specify the number of iterations we want and on what value of the iterator variable we want the iteration to happen. So in simple words, the counter oriented is specified for a finite number of times we want the iteration, and in condition oriented, we try to specify it, but we cannot simply say that it is going to run for this amount of iterations only. It may or it may not, based on the values that we are giving as an input. So let's go towards the code. So it will be more helpful to you guys for you guys to understand what I exactly want to say. So we'll start with for loop. So this is the basic syntax for loop. So we'll start with for, and then we have the iterator variable, and we will have the membership operator in and an iterable object. So what is an iterable object? So it is nothing but a group of values combined together, stacked up together, which can be enumerated, and we can use this object in terms of these values. So this object is nothing but a set of values or a list of values. So what this line will do, the iterable object. So the iterable variable will take the values from iterable object one after the other, and we will perform some code based on this iterable variable's value. So this repetitive code is nothing but, let's say you want to perform a certain operation on a value from between a range. Let's say I want to perform an operation of adding a value of 2 to each number between 1 to 100. So this iterable object will give us the value from 1 to 100. So it will first take the value of 1, then in the second iteration it will take the value of 2, and then so on to 100. So repetitive code will just perform the addition operation. So let's take a short example for it. So let's say I want to perform the squaring of numbers between 1 to 20. So what I can do is, for I will take iterator variable as I. It is a standard practice. So anywhere if you search for Python codes that includes for loop, you will always see the iterator variable as I, but you can take anything that you want. For I in range 1 to 21. So here there is one thing to notice. What is this range function? So this function is nothing but it will give us an iterable object for the values that we are passing it in. So this range function is in the form of like this. So we define the start and the stride. So the start is nothing but the value from where you want to start the iteration, and the ending is the value at which you want to end, and the stride is nothing but how much amount of step you want to take in each in the changing of the iterator variable's value. So let's say in a smart example, I want to say that um, I want to go from iterator variable from 1 to 20 with a stride of 2. So the default value is 1 plus positive 1. So if I change it to 2, so it will go from 1, 3, 5, 7, and so on. And the main thing to notice is we will not go we will not reach 20 anyhow, so we'll only get to 19. So this ending part is nothing but we'll always go till the second last number or the end minus one number. So let's say in a stride of 1, so I will only get to maximum 19. So 1 2 3 4 till 19. So at 19 it will be the last iteration. So if we want to take 20 as well, so I want to write 21 so that we can get to 20. So it's nothing but the last value you want plus 1 to be taken as the end. So in this example, I will take the range from 1 to 21. So it will just basically pass me 1, 2, 3, 4 till 20. And I want to perform the squaring operation. So I'll take I double star 2 and it will print me the value of 149, so which is nothing but the squares of 1 2 3 4 5 till 20, 400. Right. So moving forward towards while loop, so this is the syntax for it. So while loop, so we will start with while and then we'll have a condition and then we'll have the repetitive code. So here we are not specifying how many iterations we want and what is the step of the iteration. So it's totally upon the programmer how he or she wants to make use of it. So let's say I want to take I want to square the number till 50. Let's say I just want to what is the starting number, I don't care, but I just want the squaring of the number till 50. So the iterator should be at max going to 50. So let's take a variable I and I will initially assign it a value of, let's say, -5. So while I is less than 50, print I double star 2, and at the end of each loop iteration I will increment the value of I. So here I is the iterator variable, and so this is the condition that I don't want to go I beyond 50. So here often it happens that we go into an infinite loop. So let's say we specify a condition which is never going to true. So in that case we will end up with a infinite loop. So it will just basically hang your Python, and so we have to manually shut down your Python kernel. So make sure that you always increment the value of iterator variable and you specify a condition that is going to be true or going to be false somehow, so that you can so you break out of the loop. So for this example, I will go from 20. So -5. So -5 into -5 is 25 positive. So it will go up to 0, and then from 0 to 1 to 49 till here. So this was the basic while loop. So yes, you guys can, if you have any doubts, you can comment it on in the comment section, and I will be more than happy to clear your doubts. So moving forward towards loop controls. So we don't just have to specify a loop and just go with it, like have the full iterations, but somehow we want to control it at any point of time. So we'll have this basic 3 or 4 loop controls with us. So first of all, we have continue. So what continue does is, let's say you are iterating from a range of values, and there are certain values that you don't want to run code for. So let's say I'm going from 1 to 10 and I don't want the repetitive code to perform for 5. So what I can do, I can use this continue. So let's say I'm going from I in range 1 to 11, so for including 10 as well. So if I equal, and I'm performing an operation of, let's say, squaring only for now, I double star 2. So what I want is, if I is equals to 5, I will just write continue. So what this code will does is, whenever we reach I equals to 5, we will just skip that iteration. So whenever whenever the interpreter executes this continue, it will directly jump towards this range part. So it will not perform the rest of the loop code. Will just directly go towards the condition checking part. So we can see that as well. So we have 1, 4, 9, and we have 16, and then we'll directly have 36. So we are not doing the fifth iteration, or the iteration where the value of I is 5. Similarly, we have this pass as well. So pass is basically used when you want a certain iteration where you don't want to perform any operation, but you want to specify a code which is syntactically there, but it is not performing any operation. So let's say your loop code is somewhat big, and there is a certain part of that loop code you don't want to perform any operation based on iterator variable or any condition. So you can use this pass to just skip that part, or just skip that portion of your loop code. So you can use this pass. Often pass is interchangeably used by continue, so you can use continue as well, but make sure that you are not hampering your logical value that you want to take out of it. Let's say let's take the same example only. I want to perform an operation of between 1 to 14, and for each variable for each value of 5, I want to add it a number of 5 to it. But if the value of I is 5, then I don't want to do anything. So I'll take if I is not equals to 5, what I will do, I will print I plus 5, else I'll use pass. So this is, in this code I can use continue as well. So that's what I said, you can use pass or continue interchangeably, but just keep sure that you are not ruining your logic. So in this example you got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and you will not have 10 because we are passing the value of 10, and we'll have till 19. So 14 plus 5, 19. So let's say you want so now break operation. So let's say you want to break your loop in between your execution. Let's say you are iterating from between a range, and you want to break your loop in between the execution and at a certain condition or at a certain value. So you don't want the full execution of the loop whenever required, or that's the need of your task. So you can use this break statement. So let's say I'm going from 1 to 100, and I want to break the loop at 58. This may sound silly that if you want to break the loop at 50, then why are we running for 1 to 100? But let's say you want to check, you have a condition that if a variable's value changes to a certain value, then at that point I want the for loop or any loop to be broken. Then we can use this break. So let's say I have a value of a equals to 10, and I am using while. Let's say I'm giving a value of 2 only, so I just want to keep this loop going on and on and on. So I'm decrementing the value of a at each iteration. So, and if a is equals to 0, I will break. So whenever I execute this code, I get to know this that it will go from 9 to 0, and then it will break. So that's we know because we know the value of a. So let's say in your code you don't know the value of a at some point between your execution, and if you run this loop, it might happen that this loop runs for 1000 iterations or 2000 iterations or even just 2 iterations. So this is where we need a break statement. So if you want to break your loop at a certain point, or by using a condition, you can use this break statement. And finally we have this else statement. So this break and else are related to each other. So what this else statement do is, so during your loop code's execution, if you don't encounter any break statement, or if you don't break out of the loop, this else statement will by default run. So let's take an example for I in range 1 to 30, and if I equals to 50, break. So here in this code, I'm taking a condition that if I is equals to 50, I'll break out of the loop, or else I will just go towards the end of the iteration and I will execute the else statement. So here if I execute this code, I will get the output as else block is executed. But if I change this value of I from 50 to 10, then I don't get this else block executed statement print, because we are breaking out of the loop. So whenever this break statement is executed, we will not have this else statement gets executed. So it's either going to be executed as break, or it's either going to be executed as else. So you can use this else block to check if your for loop or while loop is executing the amount of iterations that you want to execute. So that's where this else blocks is used. So that's it in this video, guys. Thank you for your time. Thank you for listening. Take care of your health, and we will meet next time. Please like, share, and comment on this channel if you are